Okay, today we're pulling back the curtain on a world where fortunes are promised in a heartbeat, and life savings can disappear just as fast. We're going to dive deep into the predatory side of foreign exchange trading, using Clive Aldread's Anatomy of Deception as our guide.
So let's just start with a number that's, well, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. $7.5 trillion.
Yeah, that's how much money moves around every single day in the Forex market. It is this massive, decentralized ocean of cash, and you've got millions of traders jumping in, all hoping to catch a wave. But that size, that lack of any one single regulator, it also makes it the perfect hunting ground for some serious predators.
But look, this isn't just about big, abstract numbers. It's about real people. People like Maria, a nurse from Miami. She saw a flashy ad, believed the promise, and lost everything. Her story, and so many others like it, really grounds us in the devastating reality of what's at stake here.
So, to really get how these scams operate, we first have to understand the environment where they grow. The Forex market, it's not like a normal stock exchange. You gotta think of it more like a sprawling global jungle with very few rules.
And you know, the very things that make Forex so exciting are also its biggest weak spots. First, you've got insane volatility. A single piece of news can make a currency just plummet. Then there's leverage. Your broker lets you control a huge position with just a little bit of money, but that is a serious double-edged sword. It can magnify your wins, sure, but it can also wipe you out in seconds. And the biggest vulnerability of all? These huge regulatory gaps. Scammers can just set up shop offshore and become practically untouchable.
And right at the center of this jungle, you've got the brokers. They're the gatekeepers, the ones who give you access to the market. But the real question is, are they your friend or your foe?
So, generally speaking, you've got two main types. On one hand, you have market makers. Now, these guys create their own internal market, and they're usually the ones on the other side of your trade. Think about that for a second. If you lose money, they make money. That's a huge conflict of interest. Then you have ECN brokers. They're supposed to just be middlemen, sending your trades to the bigger market and taking a small commission. On paper, the ECN model seems way safer, right?
Well, that brings us to the single most important question any trader has to ask. In a world of smoke and mirrors, who can you actually trust with your money? Well, here's the dirty little secret of the industry. Both models can be, and often are, totally corrupted. The bad market makers can use hidden software plugins to nudge prices just enough to trigger your losses. And a lot of brokers that say they're safe ECNs, they're really just market makers in disguise. Heck, even some fully regulated big-name brokers have been hit with massive fines for treating their clients unfairly. It all comes down to this. You have to adopt a trust-no-one mindset. That is your first line of defense.
Okay, so we get the environment. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's dissect the scam itself, the actual playbook these fraudsters use to take your money.
This is a pretty great look at the whole ecosystem of a typical scam. You've got direct manipulation of your trades, things like stop hunting, where they'll artificially push the price just enough to hit your stop loss and close you out for a loss, or spread abuse, where they just widen the gap between the buy and sell price so they pocket the difference. And then, behind the scenes, the whole financial setup often works just like a Ponzi scheme, designed to keep new money coming in and make sure your money never, ever leaves.
And these scams have gotten way more sophisticated over time. You know, back in the early 2000s, it was all about boiler rooms, high-pressure cold calls. Then, by the 2010s, it moved online with all these fake ECNs popping up. And today, they've adapted again. They're using all the buzz around AI and crypto to hook a whole new generation of victims, which is exactly what happened to Maria with Vortex FX. The playbook they use now is slick. It all starts on social media, right? You see these gurus flashing rented Lambos and private jets. Then comes the trap. They offer you this insane 200% deposit bonus, but it's designed to lock up your funds with impossible trading requirements. So when you finally try to withdraw your money, suddenly there are endless account audits or verification issues. And the whole time, their platform might be completely rigged, using hidden plugins to make sure you lose in the end.
And where are these operations based? Usually in offshore havens like Vanuatu or St. Vincent. These places have almost no real regulation, which lets these companies operate completely in the shadows. And for the victims, trying to get justice is basically impossible when the scammer is just a P.O. box thousands of miles away.
Okay, that's the anatomy of the crime. It's pretty bleak. But now, let's talk about the anatomy of the defense.
This isn't about some magic trading strategy. It's about building a rock-solid defense protocol before you even think about placing a trade.
So the source material lays out this really clear 4-step protocol. And if you follow it, you can dramatically cut your risk. It's all about prevention, about spotting the traps way before you can fall into one.
So here it is, step by step. Number 1, verify. Do not just take their word for it. Go to an official regulator's website and check their license number. If they're not on the list, you have zero protection. Step 2, test. Never, ever dump your life savings in all at once. Start small, $100. Test their systems, and most importantly, test a withdrawal. Look, if they give you a hard time getting $100 out, they are never going to let you touch $10,000. Step 3, log everything. Screenshots are your absolute best friend. And finally, step 4, learn the red flags. Anytime you see promises of guaranteed returns or insane leverage like 1,000 to 1, that's not a green light, that's a giant red flag.
And really, that's the core message here. Your best defense has nothing to do with charts or indicators. It's about doing your homework. Prevention is so much more powerful than trying to chase your money after it's already gone. The fight is won or lost before you ever click that deposit button.
Everything about the Forex market screams speed, right? Quick decisions, instant results. But maybe, just maybe, in the $7.5 trillion jungle, the smartest, most profitable move you can possibly make is to just slow down, take a breath, and check the facts. Because in this world, what you don't know absolutely can and will hurt you.